Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going deep, really deep, into the world of Terminator and AI.
Terminator, like the movies.
Exactly. But we're not just rehashing the plot. We're using these films and some awesome analysis from security consultant Jörg Weidmann to explore real-world AI anxieties and how AI is actually developing.
I like it. Using pop culture to understand something as complex as AI. Pretty clever.
Right. So Weidmann, he actually credits Terminator, especially Terminator 2, Judgment Day, for sparking his own fascination with AI.
T2, such a classic. Blends humanity, machines, and that whole morality question. No wonder it got him hooked.
It's a theme that runs through the entire franchise, right? From the original Terminator to Dark Fate, each film adds another layer to how we think about AI's role in the future.
Yeah, like in Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, Skynet, the AI, it's almost unstoppable. That reflects a real fear, right? The fear that we might lose control of what we create.
Total nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
And then you've got Salvation, the whole post-apocalyptic world where humans are fighting for survival against Skynet's machines.
Yeah.
Back then, a lot of the discussion was about the dangers of autonomous weapons, very Terminator-esque.
Then Genesis throws time travel into the mix, the idea that the past can influence the future of AI. It adds a whole other level of complexity. Every choice we make now, it shapes where technology goes.
And we can't forget about Dark Fate, Sarah Connor, back in action.
Weidmann's analysis really shows how each of these films, in their own way, pushes the conversation about AI forward. The whole spectrum of human-machine relationships, from fear to the idea that we could actually coexist.
Okay, so let's break down Weidmann's analysis.
Yeah.
He starts with the OG Terminator, the one that kicked it all off. It paints a pretty bleak picture. Intelligent machines, they've rebelled, humanity's in trouble.
And it really hit a nerve back in 1984. AI was still pretty new, you know? That primal fear that we could create something that would ultimately turn against us, destroy us even. It's powerful stuff.
And let's be real, Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. That image is iconic, right? That relentless machine sent back in time.
Totally. It embodies this idea that technology has two sides. It can be amazing, but also destructive. And the film, it sparked debates about whether we were on the wrong track with AI development.
But then with Terminator 2, things shift. The Terminator's not a killing machine anymore, he's a protector. Can machines actually evolve beyond how they're programmed? Can they learn and adapt? That's the question.
The film really opened up a new way to look at AI. Could machines be partners, even protectors of humanity? Weidmann points out that this idea, it's more relevant now than ever as AI gets more and more integrated into our lives.
Absolutely. Algorithms are everywhere, navigation, medical diagnoses, you name it. That line between humans and machines, it's definitely getting blurry.
That blurring, it's a key theme in T2. John Connor and the Terminator, their relationship, it suggests a bond can form human and machine. That challenges how we usually think of technology as just something functional.
Okay, so we've got this fictional world of Terminator raising all these questions about AI. But how does it compare to the AI we're actually building today? That's what we need to find out.
Well, remember, Terminator is still science fiction. We're not building Skynet anytime soon, or at least I hope not.
So, no robot apocalypse on the horizon. That's reassuring.
Not that we can see, but what is interesting is how AI has advanced since those films came out. We're doing things with AI that would have blown people's minds back then.
Give us some examples. What are we talking about?
I'm talking self-driving cars, personalized medicine based on your DNA, facial recognition, even the algorithms that decide what you see on social media. It's all AI.
So it's everywhere, even if we don't always realize it. Still feels different from Terminator, though, doesn't it?
There's a key difference. What we have now is called narrow AI. Amazing at specific tasks, but it doesn't have that general intelligence, that human-like awareness that you see in Skynet.
So narrow AI is like a specialist, really good at one thing. But general AI is more like a jack of all trades, can learn anything.
Exactly. And while general AI might be a long way off, Weidmann's point is that we do need to be thinking about the ethical side of things now. We don't want to end up with a real-life Terminator situation.
Okay, so Weidmann is saying we need to be careful, even though AI is still largely under human control.
It's a tool, a powerful one, but we're still figuring it out. And like any tool, we need to use it responsibly.
So before we go any further, I think it's time to dive into some of the specific ethical challenges that Weidmann highlights. He's got a lot to say about that, right?
He does. One of the big things is unintended consequences. AI is getting more complex, more autonomous. It's harder to predict how it'll behave in every situation. Like he says, building a powerful tool is one thing, controlling it is another.
And then there's that question he raises, using Terminator 2 as an example. Can we program ethics into AI? How do we make sure it aligns with human values?
Yeah, that's huge EE, especially as AI starts making decisions that affect our lives. How do we teach a machine right from wrong? How do we make sure it doesn't make things worse, perpetuate biases, or even create new ones?
And what happens when AI makes a mistake? Who's to blame? The programmer? The company using it?
That's a tricky one. We're still figuring out the rules, the legal stuff, the ethical frameworks. AI is new territory in a lot of ways.
Let's shift gears a bit. AI and jobs. Weidman talks about Terminator 2 and how it shows technology as both a threat and an opportunity in the workplace, which feels very relevant right now.
Right. AI can automate things, make us more efficient, and even create jobs we haven't even thought of. But people are also worried about losing their jobs, and that's understandable.
So is it realistic, the whole machines taking our jobs thing?
Not necessarily taking over, but AI will change things for sure. Weidman's point is that we need to adapt, focus on education, retraining. It's about being ready for a new world of work, not fearing it.
And that brings up another question. How do we make sure AI benefits everyone, not just a select few?
$1 million question, right? It's about finding that balance. AI should enhance our lives, not replace us. We need to keep what makes us human at the center of it all.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, I want to touch on AI and safety and security. Weidman, being a security expert, has some interesting thoughts there too, especially how Terminator shows technology used for protection.
He sees a lot of potential in AI for safety. Think about systems that monitor infrastructure, analyze hazards, or even catch cyber threats as they happen.
So AI could actually make us safer.
Definitely. It's like boosting our capabilities, having a super-powered security guard watching over us all the time.
But there's always that flip side, the ethical side. How do we make sure all this AI security doesn't cross the line, doesn't infringe on our privacy?
That's the key, right? How we use the tech matters. We need safeguards, making sure people's rights and freedoms are protected. It's got to be done the right way.
So much to think about. We've gone from killer robots to AI's potential to improve our lives. What are some of the big takeaways so far from Weidman's analysis?
Well, he's using Terminator, this fictional story, to help us look at real-world AI. It makes us face some uncomfortable truths about the future we're building. Technology can be amazing, but it can also be dangerous.
So we need to make smart choices today so we don't end up with a future we regret.
Exactly. The future of AI, it's not set in stone. We're shaping it right now.
Okay, so Weidman has got us thinking about the Terminator movies.
Yeah.
Right. But those super intelligent, almost human-like AIs, that's still Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Those all-powerful AIs, that's still science fiction.
Right.
What we're building now is different. It's much more focused, more specialized. You could think of it like giving AI a very specific job to do.
Makes sense. So what kind of jobs are we giving AI in the real world?
Well, Weidman has some great examples. Think about medical diagnostics. We now have AI algorithms that can look at medical images, things like x-rays and scans, and they can help doctors detect diseases much earlier. And the accuracy is incredible.
It's like having a second set of eyes, but even better because these AI eyes don't miss a thing.
Exactly. AI can spot patterns, tiny things that even the most experienced doctor might overlook, and that's just one area. Another one where AI is really taking off is transportation. Think self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars, they're everywhere in the news. Are they really as advanced as they seem?
They're getting there. AI is a huge part of what makes those self-driving cars and trucks work. It helps them navigate the roads, avoid obstacles, even make decisions in tough traffic situations. It's pretty mind-blowing to see it in action.
So we've got medicine, transportation. What else is AI doing for us right now?
Think about your everyday life. Have you ever chatted with a chatbot on a website? Or used a virtual assistant like Siri or Alexa?
All the time.
Yeah.
I think we've all had those moments where we end up yelling at our virtual assistants.
Well, guess what? Those are all powered by AI, and they're getting better all the time. Understanding our language, responding in a way that's almost like talking to a real person. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
So AI is already woven into our lives, even if we don't always think about it. But it still feels different from the AI in those Terminator movies.
And that's because, like I said before, there's a big difference between narrow AI and general AI. What we have today, it's narrow AI. It's incredible at very specific tasks, but it doesn't have that broad, human-like intelligence that you see in science fiction.
So it's like narrow AI is a specialist, amazing at one thing, but general AI, that's like a jack of all trades, able to learn and adapt to anything.
That's a great way to put it. And while general AI might still be a ways off, Weidman's point is that we do need to start thinking about those ethical implications right now. We don't want to end up in a Terminator scenario in real life.
Good point. So even though AI is rapidly advancing, it's still largely under human control, right?
Exactly. It's a tool, a powerful one, but we're still developing it. And like with any tool, we need to make sure we're using it responsibly.
We've been focusing on some of the more obvious examples of AI, like self-driving cars. But Weidman talks about the bigger picture too, the way AI is quietly transforming so many other fields.
Yeah, he's spot on about that. Think about healthcare. AI is already having a huge impact. It can analyze huge amounts of patient data, looking for trends, helping doctors personalize treatments, and it's also streamlining things on the administrative side, which frees up doctors and nurses to spend more time with their patients.
So it's not just about futuristic robots, it's about using AI to make healthcare better, more efficient, and more effective.
Exactly. And it's not just healthcare. AI is making its way into education, too. It can help create personalized learning experiences, adapting to different learning styles. It's almost like having a personal tutor for every student.
That's amazing, especially for students who might have a hard time in a typical classroom. What about other areas, like protecting the environment? Is AI doing anything there?
Absolutely. AI is playing a bigger and bigger role in environmental protection. It's being used to track deforestation, monitor endangered species, even helping us make better decisions about climate change.
Wow. So AI really is impacting all these different aspects of our lives.
And we're just getting started. Weidman talks about how AI is being used in agriculture to make our farms more efficient, and in city planning to design smarter cities. It's even changing how we experience entertainment and how we interact on social media.
It's incredible how much AI is already changing the world around us, often in ways we don't even realize.
For sure. But as AI keeps advancing, we need to make sure we're doing it the right way. We have to address those big questions about privacy, data security, and what it all means for jobs.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the choices we make as we develop it, as we use it.
Exactly. We need to be thoughtful, deliberate. We have to have those tough conversations about the ethics of AI, the potential risks and benefits, and ultimately what kind of future we want to create with this technology.
Okay, so we've seen how the Terminator movies have kind of shaped how we think about AI, and we've talked about how AI is being used today in the real world. But what about the future? What's next for AI?
That's the million-dollar question, right? The movies, they show us these dark, dystopian possibilities, but those are just one version of the future. What's really interesting is that the future of AI, it's not some fixed thing. It's being shaped right now by the decisions we make, the research we focus on, and how we think about ethics.
So it's not about just waiting to see what happens, it's about actually building the future we want to see.
Exactly. It means we have a say in how this technology evolves, how it impacts our lives. Weidman talks about a few key areas where the choices we make today will have a big impact down the road.
Okay, let's dive into that. What should we be focusing on to make sure AI stays a force for good?
Well, one of the biggest things is ethics. We need to be thinking about the ethical implications of AI at every step, from the very beginning, the design phase, all the way to how it's actually used out in the world.
So it's not just about building cool tech, it's about building it responsibly.
That's the key. We need to ask those hard questions. How do we make sure these AI systems are transparent, that we can understand how they work, that they're accountable? Are there unintended consequences we're not seeing? How do we prevent harm?
It sounds like we need a whole new set of rules for this AI-powered world we're living in.
And those rules are being written right now as we speak. Governments, research institutions, tech companies, they're all working on ethical guidelines for AI. It's a complex landscape, always changing, but we have to get it right.
Ethics is a huge piece of the puzzle. What else do we need to be thinking about?
Education is crucial. We need to make sure people have the skills and knowledge they need to thrive in a world where AI is everywhere. That means investing in STEM education for sure, but it also means things like critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. Those human skills, they'll become even more valuable as AI takes on more of those routine tasks.
So it's not about humans versus machines, it's about learning to work together.
Exactly. We need to equip people for the jobs of the future, jobs that might look very different from the jobs we have today. Weidman talks a lot about the importance of adaptability, of being open to lifelong learning. That's how we navigate this ever-changing world.
It's exciting, but a bit daunting too, to be honest. What about the potential for AI to be misused? We see those scary scenarios in the Terminator. And it's hard not to feel a little uneasy about that.
I get it. It's natural to feel that way. And that's exactly why responsible AI development is so important. We have to be aware of the potential for harm. Weidman uses autonomous weapon systems as an example, the idea of AI in warfare, but it goes beyond that. AI could be used for surveillance, to spread misinformation, to manipulate people.
So we need to be proactive, not just reacting to problems after they happen.
Exactly. We need to be looking ahead, thinking about potential risks, and putting safeguards in place. We have to have those open and honest conversations about the ethical challenges of AI, and we need to work together to find solutions. It's a shared responsibility.
It sounds like a massive challenge, but incredibly important.
It is. The future of AI, it's not something that's just going to happen to us. We're creating it right here, right now. And we have a responsibility to make sure it's a future that benefits everyone.
So what can we as individuals do? How can we be a part of this conversation about AI and help shape the future?
That's a great question. First, stay informed. Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, and talk to people about AI. The more we understand this technology, the better prepared we'll be to navigate it.
Knowledge is power. Right.
Absolutely. Second, be mindful of how you're already interacting with AI in your own life. Think about the data you share, the algorithms that are shaping your online experiences, and be aware that there might be biases built into those systems.
So be a conscious, informed user of AI. Got it.
Exactly. And finally, don't be afraid to speak up. Share your concerns, ask questions, and push for responsible AI development. We all have a role to play in shaping the future of this technology.
It's a call to action then. We can't just sit back and watch as AI changes the world. We need to be a part of shaping that change.
Weidman's analysis of the Terminator, it reminds us of what can happen when technology advances without thinking about the consequences. It's a powerful message that encourages us to think critically about the choices we're making today.
It's been an incredible journey exploring AI through this lens of the Terminator. We've covered a lot, from those dystopian futures to the real-world ways AI is being used right now, and the big ethical questions we have to face.
It's been a great conversation. I hope it's given you a lot to think about. At the end of the day, the future of AI, it's not something that's going to happen to us. We're creating it together. And it's up to all of us to make sure it's a future that benefits all of humanity.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Terminator and AI. We'll leave you with this thought. What role do you want to play in shaping the future of AI? Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep. Until next time.